So recently I was given an opportunity to get a proper pocket knife from a big name company. A buddy of mine had recently gifted me a 50% off coupon from the knife manufacturer Benchmade. The only catch was you had to show up at the factory store in person to pick it up. And well, that wasn't going to be a problem since the factory was only 30 miles away. So join us on this RBB episode while we go pick it out, pick it up, and pick it apart. Welcome back to RBB. If you're new here, consider subscribing so you don't miss new content. Prior to going, I did some research on the Benchmade website and decided on the Mini Adamas Model 273-03. This is the newest version of the model with the carbon fiber scales as well as the Crucible Particle Metallurgy or CPM Magna Cut blade. And from there, I was off to Benchmade to look it over and pick it up. Now, when Benchmade launches a new knife design and it becomes popular, they will then usually make a smaller sized model or create an assisted opening version or incorporate the option of another blade style. Eventually, all of these submodels with the same design are grouped into what Benchmade calls a family. So, in the Adamas family, before there was a Mini Adamas, there was the original Adamas, which was a collaboration with successful bladesmith Shane Seibert. I have been a fan of Mr. Seibert's work for many years and even own several of his custom-made fixed blade creations. Seibert's knife designs are known for being working knives that are overbuilt with elegantly clean lines. But when I first saw the original Adamas though, I knew it wasn't for me. It was just too big to comfortably carry in a pocket along with other gear, and frankly, if I regularly needed a knife that big, a fixed blade knife might be a better choice instead. However, when the Mini Adamas came out, it checked a lot of boxes. For instance, the Mini Adamas blade design is classic Seibert. Just check out the drop point blade's angle and fuller groove of his fixed scout knife and tell me they aren't the same as the blade on the Benchmade Adamas family knives. Also, the jimping around the grip edges is generous for a better hold. As well, the holes in the scale are another fixed blade Seibert trademark. Seibert had stated previously that the holes were there so that if needed as a last resort, the knife could be lashed to a long stick to be used as a spear, but I sure hope it doesn't come to that. In addition, the front quillion or guard is effective for those times when there is a need to push the tip of the blade into something so that your fingers don't slip onto the cutting edge. And finally, the primary grind line follows through to the point of the tip. On this feature, it is important to state that there is a difference between a pry tool and a knife. A knife is for cutting and occasionally puncturing, and a pry tool is for prying. Use each of them for the wrong purpose at your own peril. The next aspect of interest is the blade steel. The CPM Magna Cut is one of the newest super steels. While it's only been out for a couple of years at this point, you're going to see it a lot on high-end knives very soon. And while I'm no metalhead, there are a few interesting points to consider about Magna Cut steel. First, it scores as very good when compared head-to-head with other blade super steels in the categories of edge retention and toughness. Second, it surpasses most of them by being rated as excellent in corrosion resistance. This last point here is huge for those who either don't like the daily fuss of wiping their blade religiously or where the knife is regularly exposed to the elements, or who use the knife for cutting everything, including occasionally food, after it's been wiped down, of course. But the steel's resharpening characteristic by comparison still scores about a 6 out of 10 in difficulty level. Now let's consider the specs. The Mini Adamas is a manually opening folder that measures 7.62 inches when open and 4.37 inches when closed. The blade is 3.25 inches in length with a usable edge of about 3 inches and is 4/100ths of an inch in thickness, which translates to 3.56 millimeters thick outside the US. The deep pocket carry is ambidextrous for tip-up carry only, and the provided axis lock is pure Benchmade. The thickness of the handle is 63/100ths of an inch, or 16 millimeters outside the US. Think slightly more rounded scales though, and except for the bolsters, the design is open-backed, which I not only prefer to keep lint and goop from building up inside, but also to ease in blowout or occasional washout when needed. In this particular model, Benchmade went all out. The grip scales are marbled carbon fiber, and while they are smooth to the touch with no texture, in the light, the marbling glistens. As well, the hardware is powder-coated in a tasteful earth tan. Overall, the coloring makes this knife look like it's wearing a tactical tuxedo. The knife retails for $375 in 2023 money, but I only paid half of that with the discount, so for me it was a smokin' deal. When the knife came out of the box, the alignment seemed correct to my eyeballs, and the blade lockup in the open position was rock solid with no play in the action, as one would expect. So RBB, you egomaniacal elucidator of extreme edge works, I hear you say, is the mini Adamas worth it? Well, thanks for setting up a perfect piece of philosophical exposition. For years, Benchmade divided their knives into classes such as blue, black, and gold. In fact, the literature that comes with the knife still mentions this viewpoint. But if you check out their website, this concept is fading out in favor of use categories such as everyday carry to hunting, outdoor, and tactical. It's also interesting that in the modern era, a custom knife isn't always ones that have more expensive grips or a Damascus steel blade, but now also includes just about any knife that you can have personalized with laser-etched logos or custom writing on it from the factory before it gets sent to you. Think of it as getting a personally chosen tattoo on your knife. Having said this much, the Mini Adamas 273-03 definitely has some Gucci drip features to it, including the marbled carbon fiber scales, powder-coated accents, and an up-to-date super steel blade. My own concern would be that a person might buy this model and then, based on its price, treat it like jewelry or just add it to their collection box when the knife is in fact very capable of withstanding heavy use within its size range. In conclusion, few things make me more satisfied than to see someone who has a high-end quality tool that uses it regularly for its intended purpose. I believe that if and when the tool gets handed down to the next generation, all of those nicks and scratches that were accumulated over the years will give the tool its true personality and value. So, whether it is worth it, dear viewer, is for you to decide. My job was simply to make the introduction. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you right here next time on Ranges, Backstops, and Berms.